What's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy. Look, I come up in a gantry doing the commentary. Ooh, Gary Neville, ooh. Welcome back to Football Therapy, mate. With me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well, friend. I really do hope that. Welcome back to, I suppose, Chelsea news, because we're going to reference a news article. Yes, welcome back. Today, we're giving you an update on Christopher Nkunku from Fabrizio Romano, from Court Offside. I want to talk about the midfield. What we need. Perhaps Jude Bellingham has been linked to Chelsea. Of course, we've got loads of midfielders, but maybe a couple should go. And possibly some talk on Kai Herbert, as he has been a talking point I've seen across the headlines and on social media. So there's a lot to crack into, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I want to thank you for joining me here today on Football Therapy, and urge you all to spend 1 millisecond on liking the video. Takes a millisecond, it makes me feel good, gives me the warm fuzzies, and if you're yet to subscribe, you're welcome to do so, and should you choose to do so, you can hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby, yeah. Just notice I look like the pale, mythical warden of YouTube with this white complexion. Trust me, it is a studio lighting thing. Possibly I'm suddenly very anemic. No, I'm feeling okay. I don't know why I look this pale, but hey, we move. Right, so we do want to talk about the midfield. We do want to talk about the forwards a little bit. But first off, let's give you an update from Court Offside regarding the RB Leipzig French forward, Christopher Nkunku. Of course, a topical subject at the moment because an update has been given, but also goals. Do you remember goals? Now, I don't actually think the forwards are the biggest problem in the Chelsea team. Something we've discussed recently is, of course, the midfield. A midfield roster of talented footballers indeed, but dysfunctional, and ultimately to compete at the highest level in the Premier League, you've really got to have the right kind of profile of players. And we have an eclectic mix of lots of peculiar talents that represent echoes of former regimes at Chelsea. Sarri ball, Lampard ball, Conte ball, etc., etc. But anyway, we'll get to the midfield in just a moment. So let's start off with this article written by Mark Bruce, referencing words from Fabrizio Romano on Court Offside. Fabrizio Romano has written in his exclusive Court Offside column about RB Leipzig forward Christopher Nkunku and the ongoing Chelsea transfer saga. It seems Blue fans have been understandably keen, drop my pen, for news since Romano explained that the West London Giants, that's going to be our new name, isn't it? Once Boehly gets his claws into us further, we're going to be called the West London Giants. That makes me feel sick. We're leading the race to sign Nkunku from Leipzig in a deal to take place next summer. It looks like not a whole lot has changed since then. However, with Romero explaining that Chelsea are still keen and they look to finalise certain terms of the deal. Responding to Chelsea fans asking more news from Nkunku, Romano said this, quote, "I know Chelsea fans are keen to hear an update on Nkunku, but the situation's the same. Chelsea are working on both the player and the club side with Leipzig, and the next steps has to be the contract signing to consider the deal done. It's a working project, and Chelsea are on it. It hasn't gone away, but I think Chelsea are keen to get something official. Remember, early doors, how we signed Pulisic? Before he came, we loaned it back to them. Or sometimes we signed Ziyech really early. I think before the season finished, there is a way of officially securing a transfer before the window. And perhaps Chelsea are currently working on that. I'll read on. Nkunku has been a world-class performer in the Bundesliga and looks ideal for Chelsea's needs right now, as they remain slightly lightweight up top. The Romelu Lukaku signing didn't work out, while other attacking players like Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, and Hakim Ziyech have also been disappointing. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has done quite well since joining from Barcelona in the summer, but he's unlikely to be a long-term option for CAC due to his age. Correct. If Chelsea can get Nkunku to Stamford Bridge, it could be one of the best pieces of business next summer. I agree. We want him. He is versatile and he's a goal scorer. He's not a conventional knight. And he would also come with the Bundesliga risks. represented by Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, etc. You know, Timo Werner's gone back to the Bundesliga, looks much happier, scoring goals, etc. I do think, and I'm inclined to hope, that the Christopher Nkunku situation is different purely because he's technically very, very good. Unlike Timo Werner, who was a good baller in his own right, but he's not got the technical ability of Christopher Nkunku. Now, let's talk about Kai Havertz for a second, because I want to talk about this. Kai Havertz is a very uniquely gifted footballer. He is over 6 foot, and that's a sort of gift and a curse, because he can win like aerial duels. He's sort of been lumped as a number 9, and because historically, certainly in the Bundesliga, he scored a lot of goals, and of course, he's demonstrated for Chelsea that he can come up big in big moments and wear it quite well. And, you know, whether it's, you know, the Champions League final goal, and then he sort of just dusted it off, and he got like it was destined for great things. You know, the finish against Newcastle, that just makes him look like an absolute superstar. But he was never going to be a numbers man, and I knew that. I knew you were just buying a special talent. In the same way, Chelsea, I mean, Hazard was a numbers man for Chelsea, but he's not like natively like that. I think Kai Havertz was something similar. Roman Abramovich really wanted to buy Kai Havertz because it was just an opportunity. Bayern one of them, Real Madrid one of them. In the same way, loads of teams wanted Hazard when we bought him. I want Chelsea to buy Hazard. Now, I'm not saying I immediately expected Havertz to have the same kind of effect on Chelsea as Eden Hazard, because that's not fair. But it's been disappointing in the fact how, whether it's misuse, mismanagement, we're not getting the best out of him. Something that we've discussed here on the channel before is he's almost like a forgotten position man, and he's, you know, and I hate to use these words, but Dele Alli. I'm not saying he is turning into Dele Alli, but when Dele Alli played that second striker role behind Kane and got, 17 Premier League goals and looked excellent, that he kind of thrived in a certain role and position. And I'm not saying it's necessarily exactly the same with Havertz, but I do wonder if it's something the same. Havertz plays really well for Germany. The last international break, when he played just in behind the striker, when he moved there, scored a couple of goals. One was like a sniffer in the box, poacher's goal, which is just as important as the long-range worldie that he scored. There is a player there. Chelsea shouldn't give up on Kai Havertz, and he should be recognised as a special talent that starts for Germany, a big, big international team. But it's about making him work in domestic Chelsea Football Club team under Graham Potter, and where do you play him? Where do you play him? But one thing, maybe you have to get more forward settled first, you know. In terms of sacrificing other forwards, he wouldn't be top on my list. It would be probably Hakim Ziyech. You would just want to get the Romelu Lukaku situation sorted as quickly as possible in terms of a permanent distance. But yeah, I mean, Aubameyang, I don't think he was ever going to be long term. It's very, very tricky, man. I mean, Hudson-Odoi, I have a feeling we might sell him, try and raise his value in the Bundesliga again, and just try and get X amount for him. But Chelsea would look to sign probably a striker. Yesterday's video, we spoke about Ivan Toney and Jonathan David, how they're more admired by the current Chelsea manager Graham Potter. I say current manager because they go in and out so often. By the way, a lot of people on social media upset with Graham Potter, I think needlessly. I understand how he's not much of a character, but that's by design, I think. It's better that he's more chilled. You know, the dude's unbeaten. He's got a hard, long road in front of him. You're going to have to just settle and give him time. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the midfield. Yes, the forwards are a problem. I don't think defenders are a problem. And yes, many of you will point out, yeah, but right back, we need without Reece James, we're poor and we don't have a Reece James replacement. The truth is, Cesar Azpilicueta can do a job there, and so can Ruben Loftus-Cheek. That we cannot rely on the right flank to just be a good team. Look, I know Liverpool just lost to Nottingham Forest, but if they can beat the champions Man City with like Milner at right back, 35-year-old Milner, Chelsea can play well with 31-year-old or 32-year-old Azpilicueta, who keeps himself equally in immaculate shape. The issue is our midfield, and it's such a tricky one to navigate because, like I said in yesterday's video, or the one before, Chelsea have good midfielders, very talented midfielders, whether it's youth like Chukwuemeka, or whether it's, like Gallagher, or whether it's experience like Jorginho and Kante and, Kovacic, who's a little bit younger. There's good options there, but we need a lone pivot stopper player, and we probably need a creative player. I spoke before of like Fabregas and Matic, conventional creator, conventional CDM, Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's proper like, bring on the British Brexit Chelsea, but those kind of profile of players. I wanted to talk about Jude Bellingham because he's on fire this season. He's still only 19. He speaks like a captain. He's been captaining Dortmund, as a teenager, like De Ligt did that Ajax side, but, Dortmund, I'd argue, are playing in a bigger league and bigger stuff, bigger, representing a higher level. I would love Jude Bellingham as that sort of more offensive central midfielder that can play properly as a box-to-box, that is going to sort of play kind of that Kante role, but more as an attacker. He'll probably be, as Fabrizio Romano tweeted today or yesterday, the most expensive midfielder of all time. Which is, it would make sense, really. Look, there's also the Dennis Zakaria paradox. We need a conventional CDM stopper, and we have one that we loaned, and he's not got a minute of game time yet, and you have to think there's a reason for that. Whether it's fitness, whether it's, he speaks fluent English, so you'd think he'd retain tactical instruction from the coach, and he seems to socially fit in well with the team, so there's got to be like a fitness thing, and just generally not being ready, one would have to imagine. But look, in terms of defence, I think we're fine. I think with, Trevor Chalobah still being undefeated as a Chelsea starter, which is quite remarkable and bloody awesome if you ask me. And of course, the next player, the player that he's replacing at the moment is Wesley Fofana, who I think is a magnificent footballer. Sorry, I got hay fever. I personally think he could be the best centre-back in the world. Mark my words, and that's why I wanted him for such a long time. I'm so happy. I feel blessed to have Wesley Fofana in my team. You could say Levi Colwill could come back on loan afterwards. Potter would probably give him a chance. We've got defenders, man. Where defenders are good. Cucurella is a good player, even though he's been a bit wobbly recently, and he can play at centre half. Koulibaly looks like a kid next to 38-year-old Thiago Silva. The defence is fine, and yes, it would be nice to have a backup wing back for Reece James, but all that's fine for me. And and we will have forwards that can score goals. For me, it's the midfielders, connecting that, playing between the lines. And the way we spent lots of money, I actually think in the end we got quite a good deal for Wesley Fofana. They wanted 85 million for him. We paid 69. 16 million pounds less than asking price is pretty darn good if you ask me. The way we threw the bag at an elite defender there, I would like us to throw the bag at an elite midfielder. It's taken me a while to think this, and I've been thinking, maybe it's just a system thing. Maybe we get a cheap midfielder like Caicedo, or, cheaper from Brighton because of Potter, and we lean on the system, and we can't, let's not do this Galactico buying thing that's not served us well before. But to be honest, man, we need like a top-class starting level new midfielder. We do, and that's no disrespect to Ruben, who's great at running into space, who's strong, who's a utility player. Kovacic, who can look absolutely world-class on his day. And of course, Jorginho, who serves a purpose in certain scenarios. And Kante, all these players, great. I'm not mugging any of them off. Great. But, I do think Gallagher's probably a number 10, like Mason Mount, or number 8, rather, further up. But we need players that are, that are going to really read the game well and link the midfield to attack from deeper positions. And I do think of your Jude Bellinghams and your conventional CDM stoppers, and that's what we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Chelsea probably will go in for another central midfielder after the World Cup in the January transfer window. But will we see Dennis Zakaria, man? What if he just comes into the team and makes a difference? He's got to get a game. Is he going to be Man City in our first League Cup draw game? Because what a baptism of hellfire that would be for him. Or are we going to wait till the FA Cup starts and give him a really easy, do you know what I mean? Ease him in there. I'm sure he's playing games behind closed doors as well. It's tricky, man. Well, there's your Nkunku update, and I wanted to talk about the Jude Bellingham because Todd Boehly reportedly, I think from Fabrizio Romano and others, have said he will go in for Jude Bellingham and has made inquiries already, something that we've spoken about on the channel. So I wanted to reiterate that and my desire for this new midfielder to help Graham Potter develop and indeed dominate the Premier League to a degree where we can be in the conversation. Thank you for joining me today, guys, and thank you for dropping a like and subscribing and all that fun jazz, man. Oi! Take care, friends. Enjoy the football. See you very soon. Peace.